Hello, welcome to round 2 of the powder foundation tutorial. If you saw my video from last week, you'll see that I attempted to do a powder foundation video and then I really realized too late that it wasn't recording. I'd already put on the foundation and I was just doing my concealer, so I figured, what the hell, I will just finish recording it, put it up, it'll be funny, sort of. And now we get to the actual tutorial. So I'm checking it, it's recording, we're all good, hopefully. All right, so starting with powder foundation, what you need. So of course you need a powder foundation. This is from Bare Minerals, but there are many other brands that make powder foundations, many cheap brands. So don't worry if, you're trying to find powder foundation and it's super expensive, you'll be able to find one that's cheap. Bare Minerals is great though because it does come in kits. Because you do need a couple of other things to do powder foundation that you wouldn't normally need with liquid foundation. So the main thing you do need is a primer. This is just the Prime Time from Bare Minerals. This came in the kit, and you need a primer in order to get the powder foundation to stick on your face. Normally, you don't need a primer for liquid foundation if your moisturizer does a good enough job keeping your skin moist and keeping the makeup on there. But your moisturizer will not be good enough for powder foundation. So you definitely need a primer. Now, this came in the kit with the Bare Minerals, but typically if you find powder foundation on its own, there will be primers that go with the line. For the different drugstore brands, so I wouldn't worry about that. You just have to look for it. The other thing you'll need is if you don't want to use liquid concealer, you'll need to get a powder concealer, and you'll use it after you put on your foundation. If you want to use liquid concealer, you need to put it on before and let it dry all the way. Otherwise, it'll get really messy and gross, and it just won't look good. Okay, and then the last thing you need, of course, are your brushes. And there are many, many different type of brushes. These all came in the 2 different kits I got for Bare Minerals, but you can also use other brushes. You just want to get a nice fluffy foundation brush. Any type of foundation brush will be just fine for it. So, let's get started. Yay! So what you're going to want to do is after you put your moisturizer on, you're going to want to take your primer. And you don't need a lot. This looks like super tiny. This is half an ounce. And it looks like you won't be able to get like any out of it. But you only need a really tiny amount. Like I'm going to show you how little of amount you need. Let me show you. You don't need a lot. To me it feels like it's a silicone based product. I don't believe it is, but it could be. If you're allergic to that stuff, check. But yeah, you just need a little bit. You don't need a whole lot. You're just going to rub it into your fingers. And you're just going to rub it on your face. I didn't put any concealer on. I've got the powder concealer. I'm going to do powder concealer for my face. And see, this is almost too much primer. Which is good. It means you get, a lot of use out of the little tiny bottle. Sometimes Bare Minerals has specials where they'll have like a month supply. They call it a month supply. And they have them for about $20. And then they have the larger supplies, which is what I got for my wedding. And that was $49. And it may or may not be worth it depending on, what you're going to be using it for. If you're using it to try out the products. If you're actually intending to use it for longer, if you've used it before and you just want, but you don't use a lot, it might be good to get the larger kit. And sometimes they don't have the smaller $20 kits. Those are usually like a promotional type of thing. Have them once in a while. And they also don't always have them in all the shades. They have the $49 kit in just about all the shades, but the smaller kits, they don't usually have them in like a wide variety. I am fairly light, I think is what it says. Fairly light, yes. I believe this is the lightest shade it comes in. I could be wrong. It may come in a slightly lighter shade, which I may need. I don't know. I always turn up just a touch darker with this stuff than I do with my liquid foundation. And I feel like I might need a little bit lighter, but I bought this 2 years ago for my wedding, which goes to show how good the longevity is of this stuff. You know, with makeup, you just, with your foundation stuff, smell them and make sure they haven't, you know, caked. They're not, you know, gross looking or anything. They smell good. Just check all that before you use it if you haven't used it in a while. Or if you're using it regularly, just check it every week, make sure it's still doing okay. So for foundations, not so bad. You just have to keep checking on them. But your eye makeup, especially your mascara and your eyeliner, every 3 months, get rid of them. All right, so we put our primer on. So now we're going to take our little pot of powder foundation and turn it upside down, because if you don't, you'll get powder foundation everywhere. You'll usually have some left over from the last time you applied it. You have a little bit left in the cap there. And then sometimes this the closure on here isn't closed, in case you forgot. That way you don't get powder foundation everywhere. So you're going to turn this, open it up, and then you're going to tap some product into the cap. The good thing is, since, you know, we put this on upside down, you can tap as little or as much in there as you want. All right. So I tapped a little, can you see that? Yeah. I just tapped a little bit in there just to get started. And I'm going to use my large brush. And the way you want to do this is you want to put your brush in here and you want to swirl it around a bit, because it gets it a little bit warm. Not warm to where you're going to feel it, but it'll warm the product up, which will help buff it into your face better. So you're going to buff it, you know, swirl it around both ways. And then you're going to just tap it once or twice. You don't want to tap it too much, otherwise you'll get rid of all the product on the brush. And then you're going to go from the outside of your face in. And you're just going to buff it. And even though you feel like you're not putting any product on, you are. Just make sure you go over all the outside of your face before you go to get more product. Because, like I said, you can always build this up. It's very good for building. I'm doing my buffing again. I'm going to tap. And I'm going to start moving inward on my face. It doesn't taste very good, so don't get it in your mouth. All right, and I do need more coverage, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap some more into my little lid here. Just tap a little bit more in there. Keep swirling it around. I usually need 2 layers of coverage, is what I usually have noticed. And then I just buff it in where I need it. And I'm leaving my eye alone because I'm going to use a smaller brush to get in there. And then, of course, I'm going to use my concealer brush. Make sure you get under your nose, around your lips, along your jaw, all the places you normally put foundation. All right, I am going to use my smaller brush to get underneath my eyes, and then I'm going to do my concealer. So the same concept. It's a little bit easier with the smaller brush, I find. But it also takes longer if you're trying to do your whole face. So I'm putting this underneath my eyes. And sometimes you may not need a concealer. I usually do because, well, you know, I swear I get sleep, but like, I guess not enough. You'd think stay-at-home wife would get enough sleep. Doesn't seem to be the case. Anyway. So that is the foundation. Now what you're going to do when you close it, make sure to actually twist the closure all the way. And then you're going to hold the cap and you're going to do this. Because there's probably going to be a little bit of product left in the top of this. And that way it's all on the cap. and you don't have to waste any product for next time. So then we have our concealer. And you're going to do the same thing. And it's particularly important with the concealers and eyeshadows and the smaller pots of product from Bare Minerals. Because while the foundation itself, unless it's in a really small pot, comes with a closure, these do not. These have 4 holes in the top and there's no closure. So you're always going to want to take these and turn these upside down and open it like that. And I've already got a decent amount of product in the lid. Now, I'm not sure about other brands, but I would still recommend doing the same thing because typically with powder foundations, you need a lid to swirl it around. And with the concealer, you can just take it, swirl it around just a little teeny bit. You don't need a lot. This concealer works really well. This is in the color Bisque, which again, I think is a little too dark for me, but I don't use a whole lot of it, so it blends in. So you're going to pat it, and you can pat it down like you usually do in the V shape, which I'll go over in another video, but the V shape it highlights your face better if you do your concealer, because otherwise you're not really doing yourself any favors if you do it just underneath your eye. Alright, and do the other side. And the reason you're going to pat is because it's powder and it will just swipe away the foundation underneath if you swipe it. And you can lightly swipe it if you need to bring some down or bring some over, but pat most of it. Alright, and then like I said, you're going to take this upside down and close it because otherwise you're going to have a giant mess on your hands. And there you go. All you got to do is finish it up with your favorite highlighters, blushes, contouring, whatever you want to do. You can use whatever kind you want. It would probably be easier to use powder stuff, but you can use liquid stuff over it. Do whatever you want. You might want to use a makeup setting spray if you're going to be wearing this for a long time, just because you might try to wipe your face and it will come off. But yeah, so hopefully this is more successful than last time. And I hope this was helpful for, just a basic powder foundation tutorial. This is loose powder also. There's a different way to apply pressed powders. Unfortunately, I do not have any. As soon as I have some, I will show you how to apply it. All right. If you liked this video, go ahead and thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave them down below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And if you want to see more videos by me, go ahead and click that subscribe button. And I put out new videos every Tuesday and Thursday and other random days during the week when I feel like it. All right, I will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.